Auburn basketball takes down Vanderbilt in Nash Vegas 80-65, 4-0 in SEC plays. The Tigers continue to roll. This is our reaction live stream where we're going to break down the stories, the stats from the game. All that's coming up right here, right now. War Eagle Auburn family and War Eagle E2C Network family, thank you so much for joining us. Whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on the replay, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it's called these days, all the different places, times, multiverses, and avenues with which you can consume this content. We appreciate you being here and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. This is another reaction live stream where we're going to be breaking down what we just saw, what we think we saw, what we know we saw, stats and figures from an Auburn men's basketball game. They take down the Vanderbilt Commodores in the most ugly, awful monstrosity of a basketball arena that ever existed. Not much worse than their play, though. But the Tigers win 80-65, and we got a lot to talk about from this. I'll be honest with you. I think everybody kind of checked out a little bit of that game. Auburn was pretty much in control of it past one Vanderbilt run in the first half and really didn't let go of it after they went on like a 16-2 run after losing the lead about midway through the first half. After that point, it was all Auburn's game, but we still got some things that we need to break down and discuss, and I'm sure a lot of you have opinions. So help us out with this stream. Smash the like button if you can. It is a huge help in helping the show get off to a great start. We'd also love for you to start off by posting where you're watching from, your city, your state. If you're international, lets us know who's here and where you're checking in from. We always like to know who is checking in from where. And a lot of fine folks, familiar folks already here. A lot of you we saw on our normal Wednesday night shows for our Auburn family night, and we appreciate you coming back for a late night stream. Rise Life, Thomas is here. We got Big Simp, we got War Eagle in the house, Devin in the house, Unbeaten Lake. So many people here that we know and love are hanging out with us to talk about some Auburn men's basketball shooty hoops. How good is it, folks? Do you really feel good about this team? The one thing that scared me tonight was when Janai Broome went down there at the end, clearly limping a little bit. I think he got his leg twisted up and landed on it a little bit awkwardly. He still seemed to struggle a little bit at the line with balancing on that foot. So that's a little concerning. But one of the things that's been really good about this team this year is how deep we are and how you should feel comfortable about who would step into those shoes should he need to sit, see less time. Big game coming up next Saturday. So hopefully we don't have any repercussions for Janai Broome. Maybe 2 days of rest will be enough to get him back out there to full strength. We shall see. Brian's checking in from Minnesota. How'd I miss you there, Brian? We're a little bit chilly down here, Brian. Not as chilly as I'm sure that you guys have been, but it's chilly for us all the same. Rise Life said he was 4 points off. He predicted 80-69. 80-65 is your final score tonight. You should do some more. If you're that close, you should do some more predictions. Too good, Big Samps says, give us the trophy. We've shown enough. Wish we could rematch Baylor right about now. That actually would be a good matchup because they're still playing well. We have increased our level of play. I said this, it would be fun to watch those two teams play at each other's home arena and see what the result would be because the result was so close and probably should have been Auburn's if they could have made some free throws back then. They should have had that victory up there in South Dakota, which is a bit of a shame that we dropped that one. Yeah, look, I'm a little worried about that one. Leg injuries, sometimes they can be very minor. They can be very nagging. Hopefully that's not going to be anything that bothers him too much. The Vandy Sandbox. I don't know if I love that name, Thomas. I need something that's like more derogatory, more like expresses my disdain. A sandbox is kind of pleasant, right? There's nothing pleasant about Vanderbilt's court. You put the people down on the end, you push everybody back away from the court. So it sounds like everybody's far away, and then it's raised up too. It's so stupid. Absolutely stupid. I told you I was going to rant about that this evening. He should have known that was coming. Let's see here. Angela checking in with us. Thanks for being here. He said chili. Joseph on Facebook checking in with us. Good to see you. I think a lot of y'all were concerned, like I was, with Janai having a little bit of a tweaked injury at there. Then hopefully he's not, it's not too bad. All right, Rise Life says, Kyle, you're the reason why I got glued on Williams. I remember him growing into the start that he already was. Just needs more attention. Listen, Jalen Williams is the perfect prototype basketball player. He has stuck around, paid his dues, played his role at times, not been a starter because of certain great players that were here. And now when the opportunity arises, is showing up. He's your leading scorer again tonight, folks. Jalen Williams. I need y'all to start using this hashtag and tagging at E2C Network. Hashtag Jalen Williams things. That's all he does. Jalen Williams things. Great basketball player, great teammate, and is a humongous part of this 80-65 win. He is your leading scorer tonight. His stat. I just looked at the complete stat line, folks. I've got chills. Let me just read this to you. Jalen flippin' Williams, 21 points, 7 for 7 from the field, 2 for 2 from the three-point arc, 5 for 5 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 2 shy of a double-double, 3 assists, only 1 personal foul, and only 1 turnover. And that turnover really wasn't his fault. He got ambushed and should have been a foul in 28 minutes of play. Be still my beating heart. Jalen Williams putting up a beauty of a stat line. Wow, that's beautiful right there. And look, it's not like breaking 30 points or anything like that. It's just complete, whole, perfect in many ways. From the field, at least shooting he was. I mean, I was going to ask the question, and I love to ask this question because it's an important one to think about. But at the same time, there's nights of like this, like after I just read that, how do you ask this question and have a legitimate conversation about it? Who's your player of the game? Is Jalen Williams. I mean, he perfect from the field. Aiden Holloway gets in the double digits with 10. Janai Broom with 15 tonight. Cardwell with 12. Outside of Holloway, it was big man night. And I think you'll see that show up in a certain stat that we'll talk about when we get to team stats tonight. I mean, what more do you want from your big men? They all did a great thing tonight. Everyone was down on Chris Moore last week, but he played well tonight. I think one of the things that continues to get misconstrued is Chris Moore's role on this team. He's not supposed to be a scorer. And folks, just because he's not a major scorer doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve to start. He deserves to start because he provides us have y'all been paying attention to what's been happening at the start of most games? We get off to a pretty good start. You know why that is? Because our starters are pretty good together. And that second platoon comes in, just knocks people in the mouth. And so they can't really recover when you put the steady, experienced crew back in there. That's how it works. Just because someone's not a major scorer doesn't mean that they're not a equal contributor to this team. Chris Moore tonight, since you gave him a shout out, only 2 points. So kind of about right away where he is, but his value doesn't come in necessarily how he scores tonight. Big Sep says, I know this is picky, but Donaldson is our QB of the offense. He should play more, not knocking Holloway. Let's look at their play time tonight. Aiden Holloway with 18 points. Trey Donaldson with 21. That's pretty even right there in favor of Trey. I don't know that you can sacrifice any more time for Aiden because we saw a few times tonight why he is the phenom that he is. I mean, shooting from the logo win, where you at? He is definitely someone that you want to keep out there and go with the hot hand. And Trey earned that tonight because tonight Aiden gets 10, Trey Donaldson gets 5, but maybe you noticed him a little bit more because of what Trey was doing outside of the scoring. Jalen reminds you a lot of old school NBA type players. I would agree with this assessment, Rise Life. 100% agree. Let's see here. Cardwell stepping up a little too. He's been stepping up all year and has become more of a contributing factor stats-wise, but he's always been that energy factor. He gets in the double digits tonight. Do we really need to ask? Absolutely true. Absolutely true. A lot of people looking forward to that Final Four. A little bit far away for that right now, but I understand the hype. All right, let's keep your comments and questions coming about this game. Any thoughts that you had about it? By the way, shout out to the Nashville Auburn fans. Y'all continue to show out even when the conditions aren't great. Auburn North, it seems like it is. So we talked about Aiden. 10. Here's your breakdown of scoring tonight. Aiden Holloway, 10 points. Jalen Williams, 21. Janai Broom, 15. Chris Moore, 2. Denver Jones with 3. Katie Johnson with 2. Trey Donaldson, 5. Chad Baker-Mazara, 5. Leor Berman, 5. Chaney Johnson, 0. And Dylan Cardwell, 12. Only one who doesn't score points tonight is Chaney Johnson, but even he had some great moments tonight. Isn't it nice when Leor Berman in his limited time gets on the board, knocking down a 3? It's what he's there for, and he's contributing when he gets the opportunity to. You're going to really push the sandbox thing, aren't you? You really are. Auburn back. Nashville? Nashville back. Oh, for the bowl game? Is that what you mean? I don't know if it makes up for that, but hey, we'll take it wherever we can get it tonight. So that's your scoring breakdown tonight. I would say if you're going to talk about a player of the game other than Jalen Williams, it's probably going to be Janai tonight, who asserted himself when he needed to, but not overly. And Jalen got the most points tonight and had the prettiest stat line, so really good. Quiet night for Chad Baker-Mazara. Was anybody intrigued by that? I thought we might see a little bit more from him tonight, but he was due for a quiet game, so not a big ordeal there. The other storyline that I think is interesting to talk about here too is Tyron Lawrence. A lot of people remember that he was highly coveted in the transfer portal process, and a lot of people thought that he might end up at Auburn. You wonder now, he's plays for Vanderbilt if you haven't figured that out. Has he rethought his decision and the way that things are going for Vanderbilt this season? I would think he probably looks at what's going on at Auburn and goes, hey, that'd be fun to be part of. We all make choices. Sometimes we make the wrong choice. We played like a dog on defense, and I saw them communicating and doing very good ball movement today. I do commend you for noticing that, because I think sometimes that's lost, and I'll mention that in team stats here in just a little bit. That ball, almost to a detriment in a few sequences, was moved around very fast, very quickly, and maybe one too many passes. And you don't hear me saying that a lot. At some point, someone's got to make a decision to do something with the ball other than just pass it around the horn. And I love the unselfishness, but there are times we could do with a little bit of selfishness. I'm okay with the quiet games from our guys as long as the bench picks up the slack. How about them free throws? Man, you know I love the free throws. All right, walk through the individual stats. Team stats tonight. Auburn, 47% from the field. Pretty dang good. 32% from the three-point arc. Not bad. It'll definitely, those two combined on the road will get you a win. Auburn wins both of those categories. Now let's talk about the big 3 that I focus on: free throws, turnovers, and rebounds. As a reminder, the way I talk about this is you can still win if you don't win the differential margin in these particular categories, but you can't have a big deficit. But if you win them, typically you're going to win the game. I think there's probably been like one time that hasn't happened. If you win 2 out of the 3, you usually win. Those are the most important ones. Free throw percentage tonight, since he brought it up, 82%. What a lovely, lovely stat line. 18 for 22 from the free throw line. Great. Powered by Jalen Williams tonight. 70% from Vanderbilt is not bad, but not enough to keep up with Auburn, so we win that. Turnovers tonight. Vanderbilt gets the W. A little bit of sloppy play from Auburn by both teams. Actually, I lied. I read that the wrong way. 10 turnovers for Auburn, 11 for Vanderbilt. So Auburn squeaks out the win in that category. Still a little bit too sloppy for my liking. I'd love to have seen that in double or single digits. And then total rebounds tonight, 39-30. Auburn wins that one. So there's really not too significant a margin in any one of those categories outside of free throw, 82% to 70%, but enough for Auburn to get a very comfortable and non-blowout win in Vanderbilt. This felt like a blowout, but it really wasn't, because it kind of got out of hand quickly at some points for them too. You noticed 2 missed free throws, but both by Katie. Yeah, I noticed those as well, which is unfortunate to him. Katie's best contribution tonight was his passing, and I'm good with it because he never tried to take over. That shows a lot of maturity from him. I think one of the things that is often forgot about Katie is how he's grown as a player, as a team player. And not that he was overly selfish. He just gets a little too excited. He's our psycho. And so I think that's a good thing to bring up, Thomas, that Katie is definitely showing a lot more maturity and well-roundedness to his game these days. Not always. We still go, no, no, no. Yes, 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 a lot of times. But yeah, Katie's definitely. Thomas, what are you doing? You are too generous, sir. Thank you so much. Another super chat from Thomas tonight. Let's see what else we got on here that we haven't talked about yet. Kevlar says, I was a little annoyed by Janai and Cardwell trying to put the basketball in facing backwards and missing. Let's not get too cute. I don't recall that specifically tonight, although I think at times we all checked out a little bit. But I did see some overall kind of, I won't call it lazy, but sloppy decisions. But when games are starting to get out of hand this quickly in Auburn's favor, you can kind of see some of that sloppy play, which is not a good thing, but something you definitely want to clean up. I love how good Holloway played. The full court press on him got his pass out well. You saw that even at the end of the game too, that they were putting that on him, and he's pretty good talent in that area. Just trying to keep the lights on. Lights are on, buddy, and I appreciate it. You have a big part of that. Let's see. We used to struggle with when people full court pressed us with Wendell, but Holloway stays composed and can really pass well. And, I'm assuming you're saying that a lot of that was Wendell's fault. I don't necessarily think that's true, if that's what you were implying, but maybe how the team worked together with Wendell there didn't have as good of a dynamic maybe to break out of that press. Everybody's got their strong suits, and yeah. David says Bruce wasn't happy after the game. I'm wondering why. Anybody got some insights into that? Be interested to know what's going on there. Between Bama tears and Auburn basketball's win streak, I'm a happy camper. Aren't we all? Aren't we all? All right, let's look at the rest of the team stats that may be important to note. Let's see. Bench points tonight, 29-18. Pretty decently in Auburn's favor. Points in the paint. This might be the one where you say, outside of those other three, we talk about what is the stat that told the story of the game. Points in the paint, 36 for Auburn, 20 for Vanderbilt. If you look at who your top scorers are tonight, Jalen Williams, Janai Broome, Dylan Cardwell, all big men. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? 2 off the starting lineup and 1 off the bench. Big time contributors there. What else? Here's the one that I think is most important to note, and it changed a little bit at the end of the game, but assists tonight, 13 for Auburn, 4 for Vanderbilt. Now you might say, Kyle, we've seen similar stat lines and assists for Auburn before. Why are you saying that? Because I think it's already been pointed out in our chat tonight how much people noticed that Auburn shared the ball almost maybe too much, I said, and needed to just kind of make a decision. It's nice to share the ball. We're playing well. Everybody's trusting each other, but somebody's got to make the call and not get too cute with the passing and stuff, although there were some pretty fun passes tonight. I believe Coach Pearl was upset at having to play in front of that horror show of an arena. Aren't we all? Too many fouls, he said, and we couldn't win. We couldn't win like that. All right, let's look and see at the team fouls tonight. Personal fouls, 22 total personal fouls for Auburn, and then 18 for Vanderbilt. Yeah, so you don't win in that category. Let's look at free throws. They shot 8 more than us, but still didn't complete. If they make, 5 or 6 more of those, they probably get close to our percentage. It doesn't really make up their difference there, but it could have gotten us into worse foul trouble. Tonight, personal foul wise, Aiden got into some trouble. Our guards got into some trouble tonight. Trey Donaldson with 3. Storyline of the night, big men played more soundly, safely, securely, and reliably, but depends on which game, which group we're talking about, which individual that we're talking about. Some of the calls were terrible, but yeah. Hey, the voice of college football, Mark Rogers. You guys need to check out his channel, even though we're talking about basketball here. You need to come on over. We're going to be talking Monday with him about Auburn football stuff. Good to see you, Mark. Thanks for stopping by. The refs were cheating at the end. Interesting. Well, not too many times these days have we had to complain about the refs because Auburn's playing too well for them to really make much of a difference. All right, we have talked about storylines. We have talked about individual stats. We have talked about team stats. What else haven't we talked about from this game? Auburn versus Vanderbilt, 80-65. Get them in now. Let me remind you of a couple things as we kind of wind down our stream. Our next scheduled live stream is going to be this Saturday for a big matchup. Auburn versus Ole Miss, a ranked matchup, even though they lost tonight. Still going to be a ranked matchup. Don't miss this one and our post-game stream this Saturday. I believe it's a nighttime one. This Sunday, the Auburn Experience episode 63 going live at 9 Eastern time. We'll have a little chat before and after, but you can watch and participate in the live recording. Next Wednesday, a week from now, Auburn versus Alabama reaction stream 2 after the game. Now, keep in mind, folks, normally Wednesdays we do our Auburn family live stream like we did tonight. This one will be during our normal time. So we'll have to make a decision just to skip it entirely and just do our post-game stream. Or if you guys would like an earlier call-in show, let me know. I will consider it. It'll depend on my schedule. But that's your scheduled live streams here. You can also catch us on TikTok for live streams about midday, 12:45-ish Eastern time, most weekdays, and follow us on social media everywhere. A lot of other people checking in. Cooper came in here at the end to say hello. Why do y'all keep wanting? Y'all just want to rile me up about this arena tonight? Y'all know how much I hate it. I've been well behaved for the most part. There was a foul on the floor they called a shooting foul. Well, if that's what we're having a fuss about the refs, I think it was a good night overall. Bruce Pearl versus Nate Oates shirt off wrestling match. Who is going? Oh, goodness gracious alive. Lame Kiffin, Vandy's sandbox lookalikes. My goodness. Anyway, it's late. I can tell y'all are delirious from wanting to get to bed, but I appreciate you guys sticking around for the end of what was not the most exciting end of the game, but still another one in the book. So, in summary, Auburn versus Vanderbilt. Auburn gets the win 80-65, 4-0 in SEC play. Big one coming up this Saturday. Hopefully, Janai Broome is going to be fine with that injury he sustained at the end of the game. Got up and walked off on his own power, but we'll wait and see. Big game for the Bigs tonight. Jalen Williams leads the way. A little bit of foul trouble issues tonight, but otherwise got out of Nash Vegas or Auburn North with a clean win. 4-0 in SEC play, and Auburn continues to roll in the SEC and in college basketball. You guys have been the best little family within the Auburn family. I mean that so much. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Till we talk to you again. War Eagle.